Welcome to Sunday's video, Remembrance Sunday's video. I made a few intros for today's comments video, which is what we do. If you haven't been here before, this is what we usually do on a Sunday. We just go through a lot of the comments that you guys have left, which are awesome. This week you left so many. I don't think I've even got to all of them yet. There's so many of them. But what we usually do is we start off, we chat about something, and then we go to the comments. But I wanted to talk about a book that most Canadians have probably never seen or read, which is Discover Canada. And it's a book, it's a study guide for the Canadian citizenship. And I had to learn it, and other Canadian citizens who've had to take the Canadian citizenship test, we've all had to learn what's in this book. And basically, it's a short history of Canada. The book starts off talking about how you apply for citizenship. I'm not going to go through the book. I will do on another day. Maybe pick out pages if you guys want to talk about it. It just leaves a comment. It talks about how women and men are equal. Doesn't talk about any other species of human, just women and men, if you know that. And then he talks about the First World War. Goes through a few of the battles in the First World War, and then we get to Remembrance Day. Just noticed my copy not showing there. This part talks about the First World War and the sacrifices that people made, and it goes on to give a paragraph about why Canadians remember Remembrance Sunday, on Remembrance Sunday. And the paragraph says, Canadians remember the sacrifices of our veterans and brave fallen in all wars up to the present day in which Canadians took part. Each year on November 11th, Remembrance Day, Canadians wear the red poppy and observe a moment of silence at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month to honor the sacrifices of over 1 million brave men and women who have served and the 110,000 who have given their lives. Canadian Medical Officer Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae composed the poem in Flanders Fields in 1915 and is often recited on Remembrance Day. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. Let's do the comments, guys. Let's see what respect Canadian MPs have for Canadians. Let's start with, what? Did he really give Canadians a finger? Diana says,
he 100% did give the finger as he smirked sitting down. He knew exactly what he was doing. How disrespectful to all Canadians.
Yeah, 100%. Nev says,
this is serious, fellow Canadians. First, a Nazi in the house, then a so-called honourable MP behaving like a pompous, smug, arrogant, untouchable person by giving the finger to fellow opposition members and Canadians. Everyone should flood his email with frank comments on how they feel about his voting decision on the carbon tax and his disgusting gestures. It's time to let them know how we really feel.
His email's out there. You just have to Google it. What you do is entirely up to you guys. Tony says,
he certainly did, and lied that he didn't.
Yeah. He did. He said he'd used 2 fingers and not 1 finger. Like, it doesn't really matter how many fingers you use. You're doing that. You know, what an idiot. If you're going to scratch your face, you do that. Ooh, got an itch. You don't go, oh, got an itch. You don't do that. Doesn't work like that. These politicians, they're just convinced the Canadians are like stupid. Oh, yeah, two fingers. Yeah, I believe him. I'm going to vote for Ken McDonald because he thinks two fingers isn't giving the finger. Yeah, that's what they think Canadians are. Well, we're not. We're free. We know what's going on in the world. Robert says,
We know one thing for sure. Anyone who voted for taxing home heating in one of the coldest countries in the world is not concerned about how cold their house will be this winter.
yeah, because they're probably earning much more money than they need, and some of them are even getting free board and lodgings. Norm says,
Every person that voted against this motion will be accountable for every Canadian that suffers this winter because of the cost required to keep themselves from freezing.
exactly, Norm. Wayne says,
Not shocking at all to me. This exemplifies the contempt this government has for Parliament and Canadians. The Liberals see themselves as the rightful ruling class of Canada, and everyday Canadians are nothing more than serfs to the serve at their whims.
Sean says,
Canadian politics has really become a joke, and all Canadians are paying the price. Crazy how this is allowed to go on. We need an election now.
exactly, Sean. That's exactly what everybody wants. And Murray says,
Yes, we all got the finger. And the laugh.
yeah, did you see the guy next to him? Like going, oh, you're so funny, Ken. You're a funny guy. Get on stage. So what started all that in the beginning? It started off by Poilievre absolutely going at Trudeau in Parliament. And I really do think people will remember that day as much as the vote. As much as the vote against Canadians, because that's what it is, basically. It's a vote against Canadians to split Canada. Poilievre pushes back against Trudeau. Ron says,
Heat pumps don't work in Canada-style temperatures. But when he says free, does he mean the company that makes the pumps are donating them for free and the people who install them are doing out of their kindness of their hearts? That's my definition of free.
no, they're not free. I think taxpayers are paying for them. And again, you've got to follow the money. Like, somebody's got some fingers in heat pump industry, and I'm pretty sure somewhere down the line, like a Rive scam, we're going to find out who is a heat pump scam, who's got the fingers in that pie. June Marie says,
This is a day that anything can happen. While it is said that they are agreeing on a vote for home heating carbon tax on one side of their face, the unexpected is expected to pop up and happen. After all, a marriage between JS and JT was not expected. Do we really expect a sudden divorce between the two? I think not. After all, both have shown the Canadian people by being held hostage here under the NDP Liberal Party. They are two-faced.
they are. Thanks, June Marie. 4K video places. Why are they saying heat pumps are free? Nothing's free. If it's free, the only time it's free is when it's on Marketplace or it's at the end of someone's drive. These aren't free.
Trudeau's Liberals keep saying heat pumps are free. These heat pumps don't come out of thin air. There's a cost attached to these heat pumps that each and every taxpaying Canadian will have to bear the cost to decommission the oil-burning heaters along with the services the cost to manufacture, install and service these inefficient heat pumps. So the cost to Canadians now becomes an additional and real financial burden on top of the ever-increasing carbon tax, and that's the reality of it all. Unlike the fantasy land where the Liberals dream about free heat pumps.
You see, it's not free. It isn't going to be a free thing. These aren't, yeah, you know. You already know. I don't need to keep saying that. They're not free. These are not free. So I'm going to finish off with Brian. Brian says,
I have never gotten a carbon tax rebate, and I don't know anyone who has. I can tell you I pay an extra $250 every time I fill up my rig, and still no rebate for me. Trudeau says people use home heating oil across the country. What he doesn't say is that Alberta and Saskatchewan is less than 1%. In Manitoba, 2%. Ontario and Quebec is around 2.5%. Very low numbers. I got this at the Canadian Taxpayers Association. But even with the Maritimes, there's still 60% that don't use home heating oil. Trudeau is delusional, no doubt about it. I wonder how he would fare in a psychological evaluation. And you're right, this pushing the carbon tax is a hill he will die on. by himself wondering what went wrong.
We know what went wrong. His ego. His ego will push the Liberal Party into an election where the Liberals are going to end up with no party status. That would be quite funny, to be honest. But a little bit like what Wynne did in Ontario. Crazy, eh? Till next time.